Yo, what's up guys? You got PokeaimMD here with another Pokemon Sun and Moon competitive moveset video guide, how to use, analysis, whatever you want to call it. This time we're going to be talking about Alolan Sandslash. Now, Alolan Sandslash is Ice and Steel typing, which is pretty cool defensively and offensively. You might be thinking, well, you have a 4 times weakness to fighting and fire, you're still weak to ground. You're very right. You're 100% right. However, now you have a resistance to bug, you have a resistance to dragon and fairy, you have a resistance to flying, you resist grass, you resist ice, you are immune to poison, you resist psychic. So, and you also take neutral from like all the other types. So this Pokemon, while ice might not be a good typing defensively since it doesn't really cover anything, coupled with Steel, this Pokemon has a bunch of resistances and an immunity on top of that. And offensively speaking, Ice and Steel pair pretty well with ground type coverage, with this, which this Pokemon actually has in Earthquake. So basically, this Pokemon has the ability Slush Rush, a new ability that came with Pokemon Sun and Moon, which pretty much doubles your speed in Hail. And that means that we're usually going to be using Sandslash, Alolan Sandslash, or you can use Alolan Sandslash on a Hail team. Now, I do want to say this. I always say this because I think it needs to be said. My sets are not final. No. If you have any cool movesets and you want to list them down below, go for it. If you want to try out anything else, go for it. The thing that makes a set standard is that it's good, and I think that the first set you see on in front of you, even though I haven't talked about it yet, I think that'll be its standard set. However, that doesn't mean that any other set doesn't have its niches. Like it doesn't mean that you can't use a different set. So, but Slush Rush is really cool for this Pokemon, especially because it has base 100 attack and base 120 defense. Couple that with base 65 speed. At +2 with a neutral nature, Sandslash actually outspeeds like almost every Pokemon out there that's not Choice Scarfed. A few Pokemon that obviously outspeed you that you probably won't even deal with would be like Deoxys Speed, Ninjas, to say the least. But the standard set, or what I think will be the standard set of this, will be a Life Orb Swords Dance set, which runs Icicle Crash, Iron Head, Earthquake, and Swords Dance. Icicle Crash is your main form of Ice Stab. It also, before I even talk about that, I just want to say it also has access to Icicle Spear, which is also a pretty solid Ice Stab if you want to deal with hitting 2 to 5 times, because if you hit multiple times and it's stronger than Icicle Crash and it doesn't miss, however, you have to go off the chance that you hit, obviously. But Icicle Crash is your main stab. It's a strong attack that allows you to deal with Dragon types. Iron Head is also another new move that Alolan Sandslash got, allowing it to deal super effective damage to fairy types while being a neutral stab in general. And then Earthquake pairs that off, which allows you to deal with the steel types, which would otherwise wall your ice and your steel stab. Earthquake is really solid on Alolan Sandslash as well, coupled with Swords Dance, because at +2 Adamant Nature, this is the calc versus Toxapex, one of the bulkiest Pokemon out in the field. It's 91 to 107% that you knock out Toxapex. So if Hail is up, if Stealth Rock are up, Toxapex goes down to Earthquake, and sometimes it goes down to a +2 Earthquake anyway. Of course, this is Swords Dance, Life Orb boosted versus the most defensive Toxapex. So shout out to Jake White, by the way, for his VGC damage calculator. But this is just a Swords Dance offensive set. You're going to want to pair this with Hail. Now, there are a few Hail users that we have in Sun and Moon. Also, Earthquake allows you to deal with Heatran and Aegislash, just to name a few other Pokemon. So whether you're playing pre-Pokebank or Pokebank meta, you can use this Pokemon. But like I said, there are a few Hail users we have. The first one is obviously a Bomb Snow, the OG Hail user that sets up Hail. There are 2 more, though, that Sun and Moon gave us, which would be Vanillix. I wanted to name the ice cream first. I actually love the ice cream, just the way it looks. It looks tasty. But also Alolan Ninetales, which is fairy and ice typing, and has base 109 speed, and has access to Snow Warning as an ability, so it can get up the Hail for you. And you can pair that with like an Icy Rock. You could even use Aurora Veil in that set, which we'll also be talking about a little bit later. But this is the main the Hail Sweeper set that I feel, and you should pair this with Hail and just SD up and go to work. Like, again, Sandslash has really solid defenses, base 120, decent attack, and then with the speed doubled, you hit 458 speed, so that's faster than, let's say, Pheromosa, just to give you an idea of how fast that Pokemon is. So you can also run Jolly if you want. Jolly is a little bit weaker, but that allows you to outspeed some Choice Scarf users with the Jolly nature. Pokemon like Genesect, for example, will be outsped, like Jirachi, if they're Choice Scarf. But I like Adamant just for the power. I mean, I showed you the Calc versus Toxapex, and Toxapex is annoying as hell, man. That boy eats up any hit. So, Swords Dance Adamant, the main set. Next up, we have a 4-attacks Life Orb or Choice Band set. Sandslash does have access to Rapid Spin, much like its Kanto version before it. And again, this is just an all-out offensive set that can be run on Hail. It doesn't necessarily have to be run on Hail, but I think that Slush Rush is just the best ability, whether you're facing Hail or have Hail on your own. Snow Cloak, yeah, it's like yeah, it like gives you the ability to potentially dodge in Hail, but why dodge in Hail when you can outspeed and knock out in Hail? So Choice Band is the main item on this set, but I did say you can see 4-attacks Choice Band / Orb, so you can also run Life Orb. And this is just a spinner for Hail types, though typically I would pair maybe a Defogger for those Hail teams, just because, and a Defogger that's maybe not weak to rocks. You don't have to prepare a Defogger that's not weak to rocks. They're great Defoggers for Hail teams. There's Mandibuzz, which has Overcoat, so it doesn't care about the Hail. There's Tapu Fini, which isn't weak to rocks, and it can be a fighting type resistance, as well as a fire type resistance, so it pairs really, really well on Hail and can defog away the hazards for you. But if you want to run 4-attacks, Choice Band, or Life Orb on this Sandslash, this is the set to go. Again, Icicle Crash is the main form of stab. With a Choice Band that's hit so hard, you don't have to run Choice Band on it, though. Like I said, Life Orb is also another option. And then Iron Head, hitting's tough as hell. Fairy types are falling left and right. I'll show you the Choice Band calc real quick versus Tapu Fini, which is obviously neutral to your stab because it is water and fairy. So Tapu Fini, let's see right here, blank set, let's make it level 100. And of course this is what for Choice Band, so I'll make it the bulkiest it could be with Bold Nature. Okay, I don't know why I keep saying naive, but this is the bulkiest Tapu Fini that it could be, and this is Bold Nature. And Choice Band Iron Head, which is not on this set, unfortunately. Choice Band Iron Head is an easy. This is +2 Choice Band, excuse me. But Choice Band Iron Head isn't a 2 KO, excuse me. But as you see, there is an option of Poison Jab here. But just to show you that this is a really bulky Pokemon, man. 70 base HP, 115 base defenses. But Iron Head wears it down. It doesn't have any super effective hit to hit you with. Surf isn't going to be doing so much. And obviously you resist its Moonblast, so I'll show you Surf. Moonblast. Surf is barely a 2-hit KO. It's a 34% chance to actually 2-hit KO you, or Moonblast doesn't even 4-hit KO sometimes. So that's always an option. And again, that's on a Choice Band set. You wear it down, and it allows you to spam your Icicle Crash later, so it opens up its own door. Earthquake, I think you need Earthquake on this set. Toxapex is too big of a threat. Heatran, Aegislash, too big of a threat. And then Rapid Spin is your final option if you want to use this as your offensive spinner. If you run Rapid Spin, I would suggest running it on a Life Orb set, not on the Choice Band set, because I think that's just a waste of being able to potentially hit. Like, it's not like Pheromosa, which always forces switches and can Rapid Spin off versus anything but Aegislash. Like bar Aegislash, it can always Rapid Spin. Like Pheromosa is always bringing in Toxapex. But Sandslash, you know, it has strong stab and Iron Head and Icicle Crash, so you might as well try and hit hard with that. So if you're on Rapid Spin, I would advise it on like a Life Orb set. But you can run another Choice Band set. And then obviously Poison Jab is another option, which I actually talked about in the other options right here. Sandslash does have access to Aurora Veil. Aurora Veil is a cool move that can only work under Hail, but its light's going to reflect in the same move, so if you want to set that up. However, Hail abusers such as Ninetales, which I'll already set up Hail for you, I think are better at using this move, has better speed, has a lot of immunities, not a lot, but it has an immunity to Dragon because it is Fairy type, which also grants it neutrality to like fighting and dark and things like that, or resistance to dark, excuse me, neutrality to fighting because of its ice typing. But Aurora Veil is another option. Poison Jab, we already saw that it's a viable option if you want to be able to hit Tapu Fini, for example. Choice Band, Poison Jab, sometimes 2-hit KOs Tapu Fini. If you have Rock Step, it does 2-hit KO Tapu Fini. Night Slash is another option if you aren't comfortable with any of these options. But Night Slash hits Pokemon like Latios, whereas Icicle Crash can miss, Night Slash can hurt them. It also hits Pokemon like Bruxus, just to say a few Pokemon. If you want to run like Swords Dance, Night Slash. If you're worried about like those psychic types like Bruxus, I don't know why you'd be worrying about Bruxus, but that's just something off the top of my head that I could think of. But it also hits Aegislash at the same time, though you do have to worry about King Shield. And Leech Life is the final other option I think it has, which just gives you, again, grass types, not bug types, excuse me, grass types, psychic types, but usually your dual stab is enough to deal with them. But if you want some sort of recovery, and then I also put Ground EMZ, which gives you a stronger Earthquake, which will 100% knock out Toxapex at +2. Aegislash doesn't care about, knocks him out at +2. So that's also another option, but typically Life Orb I think is better. But I wanted to give, take notice that you can run a Z move on this thing. Now, again, it does have decent resistances, but so you might be thinking, well, what about a defensive spinner set? I'm not really too keen on that, just because of the fact that it doesn't have the tools that regular Sandslash have, meaning it doesn't have knockoff, it doesn't have stealth rock. So if it did have knockoff and stealth rock, I would definitely say, oh yeah, you can run a defensive rapid spinning set, because this thing resists fairy. So the thing that maybe you wouldn't even run it, but the thing is, a defensive set, maybe like Icicle Crash, this and this, like right here would be perfect for Stealth Rock or Knockoff. That would be perfect on it. And again, it resists Fairy. It resists Fairy. It resists Dragon. It resists some cool typing. So you can definitely play around with a defensive set. Though I run leftovers on this type of set, but that's completely up to you. Maybe with Pokebank, and it'll have like some sort of, I don't know. Maybe next game we'll have like Stealth Rock or anything like that. I don't know, but you can definitely play around with a defensive set, like a bold nature, excuse me, impish nature. I mean, it has some great resistances, maybe even a special defensive set. I mean, it does take on fairies like Clefable, but if Clefable does run Flamethrower, watch out, because that boy is hurting you. But you are naturally faster than Clefable. But that's all I have for today. I will be putting up a live featuring Alolan Sandslash. So I hope you guys all enjoyed. Feel free to leave a like. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter to keep up to date or know when I'm streaming. And subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, friends.